back to the show. I'm Michael Kuzilny. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday night, and thank you very much for coming up in the street and saying g'day. Yeah, please ring up any time, share your problems, because that's what the journey's all about. You know, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and people do get inspired from some of our stories. Some of the lovely people who are willing to share their stories. George Knowles is on the couch. He just told us how he lost his daughter, God bless her, and he's gone through a lot of tough times. And George, another tough time in your life is when you went to prison. You've spent a bit of time in prison.
That's right.
A lot of young fellas out there think prison is now like a 3-star hotel. Tell us, how did you end up doing that long stint? You were framed, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually. In 1993, I was charged with attempted murder, 3 counts of unlawful detention, and an attempted armed robbery. And the morning of this thing happened in Tatura, I got a phone call from a friend about in the wee hours of the morning that he'd run out of petrol, and if I could come to his rescue. So I was with my lady friend at the time. It was Gillian Jones, and I told Jill, and she said, well, I said, I'll jump on the bike, I'll go up on the bike. So I got on my Suzuki 250 and a couple of gallons of petrol, and away I went. Anyway, I got to the Goulburn Weir. I couldn't find my friend that asked for help. And I came off the bike. And when I came off the bike, I ripped all my boots off and tore one boot completely off. Anyway, I couldn't get the bike going. The throttle was damaged. So I hid the bike in the grass in fear that someone might take it. And I ventured to head out of the weir to try and get help. Anyway, a bloke picked me up. I ended up taking the other boot off because I was lopsided with one boot on and nothing on the other foot. Anyway, I finished up getting a lift to the Goulburn Valley Highway, and then a young bloke had been to 21st at Murchison, picked me up in a 4-wheel drive. He's a medical student, and he gave me a lift as far as Broadford. And then a friend of mine who I knew at Wallen, Trevor Robertson, who's deceased now, he was a good guy. He came and picked me up from Broadford and took me back to his place. Anyway, he had to go to Melbourne. He said, look, a lady friend that he knew was going away for the Easter weekend, and she wouldn't be back for a week. I could stay there until he came back, and then we'll go up the next day and pick the bike up. So I stopped at in Queen Street, Wallen there, at the lady's house, and then Trevor never came back. You know, I waited for him anyway. The following day, the night went by, he never came back. The following day, I rang him and he said, yeah, I'll come and see you today. But he never came. That night, about 6 o'clock, the Special Response Squad came charging through and knocked the front door down. One of the officers stuck a shotgun in my chest, which I grabbed out of his hand and threw it against the wall and said, what in the blazes is going on? It was probably the worst thing ever done.
What year was this, George?
This was at Wallen.
At 1993, was it?
1993. Now, the police had shot and killed 10 people that year, within that 12 months, and I was pretty, like, he was shaking like a leaf, the officer. And I thought it'd go off the shotgun, you know, but when I grabbed it and threw it against the wall, the other officers came through and bashed me over the back of the head with these shotguns, threw me to the ground, handcuffed me and kicked the daylights out of me. One of the officers came through, rubbed the hat in my face, right, a broken nose, a broken cheekbone, all my teeth were broken. Both cartridges behind my rib cage were torn away, and I was black and blue from head to toe. One of the officers came through, I won't mention his name, but he's not in the force anymore, thank God. rubbed the hat in my face. The blood went on it, and he said, "This is yours, you're wearing it." Now, apparently there'd been an armed robbery up at the Tura a couple of days before. And 2 forensics police officers went over that property with a fine-tooth comb. One 21 years in the force and one 18 years in the force, and found nothing on that property to connect me in any way, shape or form with that robbery. But 3 days later, his hat turns up with my blood on it.
George, may I interrupt? Were you known to the police as an armed robber?
No, never before ever in my life. Never done anything like that whatsoever, no.
How come they came to the property?
Because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what it boiled down to. And so they manufactured this case against me. Now,
they used the hat as one of the main...
Yeah.
George, why?
Well, the hat was the link. That was the link.
That was the link.
And the police came to get you because... what were they looking for?
Well, they were looking for 3 armed robbers.
Robbers, that's right. Yes, I get that.
And so...
They had no one, and then they got you, and then you're saying that the
and then
hat...
it evolved from there. So...
But what happened to the guy that put you in that house? Well, why did he not come? The medical... You know the man that told you to go to the house?
Yeah.
Why? How
well,
come
they got him and bashed him too. That's why he never came back.
Ah.
Yeah. So they were hell-bent on... They were hell-bent on...
trying to find somebody
on glory. They were glory hunters, they were. And there'd been... What they thought they'd come across was there was a big gang called the Market Gardeners Gang. They'd been robbing and killing a lot of people, and they thought this was the gang. They thought this was the gang, and they thought I was a part of it. So they manufactured this case, but they manufactured a case that was false because they had the wrong people.
What happened? You went to see a criminal lawyer?
Yeah, I had Gary Woodhams was my solicitor, and Simon Gillespie Jones was my QC during the course of the trial. But I served 6 months, and I was bailed. Joe Galacci was my QC and got me bail before Justice Tobin in the Melbourne Magistrates Court for $75,000. So after 6 months, I got out on bail, and then I knew that I had no hope with this blood on the hat business, that you know, how could I beat this? You know, how can I...
George, we might have a break. That's an interesting story. Don't lose that thought, and we'll be back very shortly on Tough Times. Don't go away.